now what is next? So we have all these side features. There's the length and width of the pocket, the diameter of the holes, and the position of the holes relative to B, K, and L. So datum B is this front face, and then datum K is the center plane of the width of this pocket, because the datum K is marked on the width dimension. So according to the standard, that implies that the datum is the center plane. And then datum L, again, that's going to be a center plane or center line of the pocket. So we'll go and add those features in here. Now, since the pocket is pretty shallow, I don't really need to measure the sides as planes. I'll just do them as lines. So we'll go in here and define a line on a plane. So we can click and drag a line across on the top and bottom. So this will be our datum K lines. And here's a quick tip about using this define a line on a plane tool. You'll find that when you're taking a line and then you want to go move the model, and if you try to drag the model with the left mouse button, it's just going to create lines everywhere. So that can be a little bit frustrating. To overcome that, you just drag in the space beyond the CAD model, and that will move the model. So if we drag down here, or if you need to, you can just switch to a different tool like define points, and then you can drag anywhere. We'll do the same thing on the sides. Now each of those lines are automatically going to have a line autopath or a scan, and it will have a default speed and point spacing. Now I can set up the first one and then copy this strategy to the others. So typically when I'm doing a line and setting up the speed of the line, I'll look at the length of the line, which is corresponding with this depth. This is actually how long the line is, so it's 1.5 inches. So if I go, let's say at 1/2 inch per second, it'll take about 3 seconds to scan that line. We could go faster than that, so let's just go 0.75, so it'll take about 2 seconds to scan the whole line. And then this point spacing, we can just do 5 thousandths. And then I can use the paintbrush tool to transfer the strategy to the other lines. So let me explain that again. So if you already set up a strategy in a line or a circle or a cylinder that has scans, or really any other type of strategy, you can first select that feature that you edited and then pick the paintbrush tool or the transfer format, and then you choose the measurement strategy. This is what we want to transfer over to the other features. Then you select the other features with the Control or Shift key, and then once you click OK, that strategy gets transferred to the other features. So now it has the same speed, same point spacing. On the shorter lines, we might want to go a little bit slower. So I'll change those to 0.4. And if I click the down arrow, it'll bring me right to the next line. Okay, so those are ready to go. Sometimes I get a little bit perfectionist and I like to change these angles to be 0 so that the line is perfectly parallel to the part, but that doesn't really make a huge difference. So it's up to you if you want to really get nitpicky about those angles. All right, so now that we have the lines, I'm going to rename them just for clarity. So this is going to be datum K. So I'll just call this K1 because we're going to construct a symmetry for the datum. K2, this will be L1 and L2. Now to make the datum or the center line, we're going to create a symmetry. So that's under construction symmetry. This will be datum K. And I can use select already extracted features as a shortcut. Just click on this surface and this surface. And now we have a center line. If these were plane features, it would be a center plane. Okay, now I'm going to copy and paste that, Control C, Control V, and then we're going to change this one to datum L. And we can also just change this to L, press enter, L, enter. So now we have both of those. Next we can add in the holes. So we'll define a circle and a cylinder. You might choose to do them as a cylinder instead of a circle. Usually if the hole depth is greater than the diameter of the hole, you would possibly do it as a cylinder. It depends on the tolerance. It also depends on the methods that your company uses. But these holes are pretty wide open tolerance for the position. It has a little bit of a tighter tolerance on the size. So it depends on how much runtime you want to have also, because measuring them as a cylinder will take more time. We'll add in those circles here. Just click on the cylinder surface at the depth that you want the circle to measure. If you put them in a little bit too deep or shallow, you can change the Y coordinate here. This is relative to your base alignment. So we can set that at a consistent depth for all of them. If we want to go 1.9 on all three, we can set that on each one. And then in the strategy, let's go and set that also. We have a diameter of 0.308, and so we don't want to go too much faster than the diameter of the hole with a hole this size. And so we'll go 0.3 on each of them. And we can use the paintbrush again, copying the measurement strategy to the other two. And we're going to rename these. This will be circle 308-1 and 2 and 3. Notice we're still using the -Z probe for adding these features in our offline programming, but that's okay because at the very end we're going to set the style system and the direction, so don't worry about that at this point. Now I'm going to add the dimensions here, so starting with 31, the diameter of all three holes. So we'll go put those in. We can go directly into the feature, click the D checkbox, and then that's plus or minus 2 thousandths. This will be 31.1 because there's multiples. And in the characteristic, we can also copy them quickly. We just have to go in and change the index number on each of them. The next one is the position. So we'll go to form and location, position, and we can pick that circle. Now this is not going to be relative to the base alignment. It's actually a different datum reference frame, BKL. So let's set that up in here. There's actually two ways to set up your datums. You can do it directly in the position characteristic, or you can use a secondary alignment. I'll show you both ways. The first way is you'll click on this square box and pick your primary datum, which is datum B, and then secondary would be datum K, and then datum L. So you'll notice there's a secondary alignment here, datum reference frame, and then it will change the nominal positions based on that. So we have 5 thousandths, and this is also using the MMC modifier. So we can, right here, we can pick MMC. This is 32. And then we're going to copy and paste that twice. And we'll just change this to number 2 and number 3. So using this method with the datum's input directly into the position characteristic, it's convenient. There is an advantage of using a secondary alignment because anytime you edit a secondary alignment, it will carry across to all characteristics that are referring to it. And also in a secondary alignment, you have a little bit more options for how the part is constrained. So let's take a look at that. So up here is a secondary alignment. It's also under Resources, Utilities, and Alignment. Just pick the first one. This is a standard secondary alignment. And it looks just like your base alignment window. And in here we can select the features that we are going to use for our BKL alignment. So plane datum B, that's our leveling and our Y origin. And then for the rotation or the clocking, it's datum K. X origin is datum L, and Z origin is datum K also. So that's our alignment. And if you want to rename this, you can go to Comment. So this is basically the same thing that we did in here. The difference though is in the secondary alignment you have more options to establish what is leveling the part, what is setting the origins. So sometimes it's better to use that way. Now if you're going to report position with the secondary alignment, in there you're going to first you'll pick the feature like you did before, but then instead of going here you're going to use this drop down and go to Alignment and pick your secondary alignment.